Dan talked about the problem solution space. I felt it was a fairly straightforward kind of framework, you know, before AI took off, which is you have a problem, there are like maybe 3 or 4 solutions, potential technologies you can choose from, and then, you see which one to apply. Take e-commerce, like how do I help customers find my products? There was search, and then there was like a lot of innovation inside search, and then there was recommendations where proactively you tell them, through behavioral targeting or contextual targeting, show them the right product at the right time. Fairly straightforward because these technologies didn't like evolve. They stayed for multiple years and often decades. Now we have like 5 solutions a day. So at least, from my perspective, what I've seen is one of the struggles is you start with a problem, you identify a solution, and then before you even finish the solution, there's MCP and this and that. Like, do you now change the solution altogether, or do you wait for the next day where something new comes up, or do you risk not taking the new solution because your next competition is going to take the next best solution? So how do you evolve as new solutions come up at a very fast pace? I think that's one of the things that product leaders struggle. And Srini was right. Doing the prototype for his board member in 4 hours, absolutely. But building a real system, which his engineering partner said it takes 18 months, is also true because a lot goes into making something work at enterprise scale.
And there's the compliance and regulations and all of that, right?
I have a joke about that. So Dan said, Spider-Man is, with responsibility, with power comes responsibility. And for product managers, it's all responsibilities and no power. For AI product managers, it's all responsibilities and hallucinations and ethical and legal problems and still no power. How do you choose which companies to invest in? Because, like I said, things are fast changing. How do you know which companies will stand the test of time? Do you look for mode? Do you look for the leader? Or what's your strategy? Then second one is, how can people get on boards?
It's standard, right? We look for a mode, we look for all the standard things. But then what I do look for is 2 things. One is what happens if you turn off your AI? If this AI is innovating faster than you can as a startup founder, especially without the mustard and power of a Pure Storage or a Microsoft. So what happens if you turn off your AI, which is basically your OpenAI credits and your AWS credits, right? You have a mode where you have unique data access or unique strategy, or could just simply go to market. But that's the first thing that I look for. Let me tell you whether that company can actually make it, right? The second I look for is AI first. And people often confuse what that means. AI first basically means you're going to disrupt an industry because you're building it AI first, which is not taking a technologist or a machine learning engineer and sticking it in a product and saying, we're going to revolutionize your whatever. Like, let's say you're going to build a new kind of product that's going to help attorneys. And you're hiring a few machine learning engineers and saying, we're going to build a product for attorneys. That's not what I'm looking for. AI first would mean you're building an AI first law firm, which means it's going to replace how law firms operate. People are going to come to you instead of going to the traditional law firms because you're using AI. There are less number of human beings you're going to interact with, because of which they're not going to pay by hour, they're going to pay you based on outcome. And I would expect that for every industry, right? Not just law. I'm just saying law because we all know they bill by the hour. But what about healthcare, right? Medicine, think of if you want a surgery, you're not going to work with a human being. Maybe there's a machine that comes and operates on you and you're going to get cured in no time at all at a lower cost.